got all my O-levels, but decided the two subjects I was top at, music and French. When you came to A-levels, you had to start reading lots of books. So I did those at evening class, and I got a job in the BBC in the equipment department at Chiswick, typing invoices that went out with the resistors and capacitors, mainly because in the stores the swearing was so bad that women would work there. So my dad bought me a book, Learn to Type, and so I'm pleased about that because I'm now a pretty good typist, and I can certainly type British Broadcasting Corporation faster than anyone. And I finally kept on applying for jobs, got into the BBC Music Library, which was in Aeolian Hall in Bond Street at the time. And so it was dealing with all the song copies and providing the scores and parts for all the orchestras. We used to go up to the studios and see people like Georgie Fame recording, poke our heads round and say hello. And this guitarist, Stuart Cowell, who was in the library, said, "Are you interested in music? You play piano?" And I said, "Well, I've only done classical. I quite like pop. I quite like the John Barry strings on Adam Faith's records." And he introduced me to blues like Muddy Waters, Howlin' Wolf. And I remember also he once played me an album by Julian Cannonball Adderley live at Comblaine La Tour with Joe Zawinul on piano playing Work Song. And I thought, I've even got the tingles now thinking about it. I thought, I want to do this. So we formed a band, and we got very matey with Georgie Fame's agent, Ruby Bard, who managed to, by then we had a 7-piece band with Stan Saltzman, a top sax player now, who was 17 at the time, so I was only 18. And we got the support acts at the famous Flamingo Club, supporting Georgie Fame, Zoot Money, Bluesology. I used to get off the Hammond organ, and Reg Dwight we used to think, oh, he looked like Billy Bunter. He used to get on the organ afterwards, and we used to get £25 between 7 of us. We had to pay £5 to some guy with the van to take all the equipment there, and of that £25 we had to give 10% to Rick and John Gunner as their commission for booking us into their own gig. And I was getting a bit fed up, and I put an ad in the Melody Maker saying pianist available. Dusty Springfield's secretary rang me up, Pat Barnett, and said, "Would you come do an audition?" So I went to this little audition room in a rehearsal room somewhere in London, met Dusty. The piece was Shake by Sam Cooke, and I played. She said, "You play hard." I remember she said you played hard. You know, it was £60 a week. What they didn't tell me, of course, in those days you don't think about contracts or guarantees, but you only got £60 a week when you worked. So we did this wonderful tour with Dusty. So my big first professional night was at the Rainbow, and the opening song was "You Don't Have to Say You Love Me." So it was quite a big. And on the tour were the Alan Price set. There was Boz Burrell, bless him, Boz, who recently died. Episode 6, which burned Ian Gillan. We played all over the country, and then Dusty was taking a break, so we went off and played with Lulu. Did some gigs with Lulu. We played with Cat Stevens on his 7th gig in Morecambe Pier. Went all the way up to Morecambe Pier. We packed up our gear, we left the pier, and Cat's walking along. I think he had a driver or something, and or Steve as he was then, and there was a couple of rowdy people walking along with drinks. So Stuart said to Steve and me, "Come on, let's go and sort them out, come on." And Steve was like, "Oh no, I can't." He said, "Come on, we'll do it." But we were just, of course, winding him up.